I don't know. We became a guitar tag team at 16 years old, pretty much.
Yeah.
And at sound check, we'll just play harmony notes to each other doing random stuff. I wish I understood any music theory.
Yeah.
Like, neither one of us could play you an E major scale if you asked us.
Our bass player Steve knows music theory.
Yeah.
He'll sometimes go, you know, that chord works with that chord because, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I don't know. I you know, we just figured.
I heard it in a Beatles song one time. I thought it was cool.
Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World, and today I'm here with Blackstone Cherry, Chris Robertson, Ben Wells.
How you doing, man?
Wonderful to meet you guys.
You too, man. Thank you.
Let's just start with your guitar playing influences. Who were your biggest influences growing up, whether it's guitar players or bands?
I mean, for me, it would have been my dad. He was the whole reason I picked up a guitar to begin with. You know, I just wanted to be like him. Then from there, man, you know, my grandpa built acoustic guitars. You know, my dad played in cover bands up until he passed away, and it was so much fun to go sit in with him and just hang. And, you know, I learned so much about playing guitar from him. And, you know, obviously then it branches out. The biggest one for me probably being Hendrix, you know, and then I don't think Angus Young ever gets enough credit.
Totally agree.
Like, it works what he does, and I absolutely love it. A lot of those guys, you know, that play more that I guess is the more pentatonic kind of blues derivative stuff, those are the dudes that I grew up on, you know, and learning how to play their stuff, more the classic rock kind of vibes, you know.
Yep.
My biggest inspiration was Elvis Presley.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe not in the world of guitar playing, but as a kid, I saw him hold a guitar. You know what I mean? He did play a little bit of guitar, but as far as entertainment and the whole thing, that's what made me want to get into music and entertainment. And then Aerosmith is my favorite band. So Joe Perry and Brad Whitford, that duo really just was like, I was like, okay, guitars, man. You know what I mean? Those two, and still are to this day. And so I credit them a lot. And then Jimi Hendrix, I remember a vivid memory of hearing the Star Spangled Banner I had a Woodstock CD.
Yep.
And he's the reason I wanted to buy the Crybaby. And I remember Dad took me to the local music store, Backstage Music Company in Glasgow, Kentucky. It's not there anymore, but a big shout out to the OG. And
We all got our first guitar.
Yeah.
Man.
I plugged it in wrong, and I remember I took it back to I had the cables wrong, and I kept hitting. I was like, it's not doing the sound that Hendrix is getting, you know? So we took it back to the store, and he was like, oh, you just had these cables reversed. And I was a classic. That's a great memory. And then Brian Setzer.
I got to circle back and throw Skynyrd in there too.
Yeah.
I had $1 for every time I watched Freebird the movie as a child, or went to the video store and rented that. Man, that lineup with Steve Gaines and Alex Collins and
you can't beat it.
Nebworth, all those. That Freebird the movie, if you've never seen it, is such a good watch. Like, it just to structure 3 guitar players that way in a band is just
Yeah. And as you really get deep into the whole Skynyrd, you know, lore and stuff, it's amazing to see how Ronnie really was able to make these guys work together, which
it's insane, man. And like, just the different parts all going on. Like, I love sitting down and listening to that stuff and trying to pick out each guy's guitar part and figure it out. You know,
that's what made them so great, is that they were so distinctive. I mean, you could tell Collins from Rossington, especially Gaines. I mean, but it was just
they all played their role, and they all did it. They all did it well. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, just to your point, it was kind of funny. Like, when you mentioned, like, I got the stuff plugged in wrong. Skynyrd was a thing for me. I remember calling the music store as a kid, saying, like, how does he get that sound, where that note in that smell? What is that? And again, the poor guy on the other line at the music store was like, that's called feedback. I was like, how do I do that?
I love that.
That's so awesome.
Right? I mean,
call the guys. But there's something charming about
amp up, man.
As a kid, that's what you do. You call the local music shop and you go, hey, how do I do this? You know.
Nowadays we got YouTube to tell us that.
Yeah,
back then I didn't have
Siri how to do it. Now it's like, the magic is gone.
That's fantastic. So now then moving over to, like, now when you get to more like say like 80s and that kind of stuff, were you guys like Van Halen or Rhodes, and were you into any of that stuff?
Yeah, dude. The first guitar solo, like, it's so funny because I don't play into, like, I'm more that pentatonic kind of thing, you know. I gravitated more to Zakk Wylde as the faster players, you know, and I recently saw a great interview with him where he was talking about finding his thing. And he finally was like, I'm going to do pentatonic my way. And I was like, right on, dude. But man, so the first guitar solo I ever learned was Ain't Talking About Love.
Really?
And I think the cool thing about that is it's very simple. It's a couple notes ringing, but you got Eddie, who's arguably the greatest to ever do it, you know, and some of his solos were just serving the song so well that, dude, that Van Halen stuff, I mean, for the 80s guitar players, you got him and Randy Rhoads, and my dad was a huge Ozzy fan, so I heard a lot of the Randy stuff around the house. We had the tribute record with D and all the stuff, the acoustic stuff. So good, man. But dude, those guys, like I ripped a lick off Randy Rhoads where he does in Crazy Train, where he bends behind where he's hammering on. It's so cool, man. It looks cool live.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I was probably, I remember getting a Van Halen greatest hits thing and hearing that, and then I think Eruption, hearing that solo, and then hearing some of the stuff he did with the drill, like Pound Cake and all this different stuff, and I was like, what is, you know, and then you heard about not only his talent of the guitar, but then you find out, oh, he built that guitar, and then he did this, and then he made this, like, man, this guy was a genius, you know, a genius, and so Van Halen for sure, and I wouldn't say I was late to the game on Van Halen, but I think I was so infused with Elvis and Aerosmith in my younger life that nothing else mattered to me, you know. And then you get a little older, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's excellent guitar work right there, and that's excellent band work, you know. Then I got into my dad loves the Dire Straits, and that's a whole different world of guitar playing there. My goodness, it's so musical.
Yeah, but Knopfler's a genius.
Yeah, Martin. I mean, it's like, and you listen to him play, and it's just like, man. So I think as you get older, you get turned on to some of these other types of stuff, you know, and you realize that maybe this one thing isn't just what it all has to be. Like, this guy plays like that and it sounds completely different. Now you're inspired again.
Hey, look, if we're going to talk about the 80s, Facelift came out, you know, the Alice in Chains stuff, late 80s.
Yeah, then you get into the tune down. And
And man, the thing about Jerry is, his riffs and his songwriting are, you know, otherworldly. We all know that. But man, like, me and my son and my brother, we do like a cover band back home, so my son could get out and play. He's a drummer, and he's, you know, super awesome. And we've learned a bunch of like grunge era stuff, which was the stuff that I found on my own. It was the first music I found on my own, you know, that wasn't shown to me by a parent or a friend or something. But dude, his solos are so tasteful.
Absolutely.
Like, the note choices, his guitar playing, his lead playing gets overshadowed, I feel like, by the vocals in the band and the songs.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if you strip all that away, his guitar playing on that stuff is insane. Like, the parts that he pieced together and the lead work, I don't know, Jerry's unreal.
What kind of caught me always about Alice in Chains, and when you get to that grunge era, is the fact that these guys, no normal traditional guitar solo that we grew up with just the heroes that you just mentioned wouldn't work in those songs. Those solos were an extension of the song.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like these new melodic parts that they kind of serve the song, which I think is rubbed off on you.
I swear, like, there was something in that grunge stuff, and you got to give Slash credit for this as well too.
Slash, yeah,
for taking a guitar solo from being just a feature in a song to being like another vocal in a song.
Yeah,
like, you started seeing a lot of that come along. And dude, there's, you know, I'm not versed enough in guitar to talk about all of it, but you know, I know what I like and I know what I've grown up with, and for the last 40 years. That stuff's some of my favorite stuff as far as guitar solos go.
Well, you can sing it. Yeah. And the thing, this is funny too, and I can't believe we forgot to mention the Eagles too, with, you know, the Joe Walsh and stuff. I mean, unbelievable. But we were listening the other day. We were in an Uber going to eat, and Hotel California was on. It was me and a couple other guys. And when that solo came up, every one of us in the car, we were being funny, but we were singing that solo. And I was thinking to myself, we're just vocalizing what these guitars are doing, and there's no voices being spoken in the song. There's nothing. It's literally, it's a guitar solo, and everybody just knows it subconsciously, and you can sing it like it's a melody, and it's like, that's amazing. It's just, you know, part of the fabric of music when that happens.
But sometimes you want to go fast.
Sometimes you just got to let it, sometimes you got to let it burn, though. You got to put that waffle on and let it go.
I get it. You know, speaking of that, it's funny, if you really want to blow your mind, it's actually just play the chords in just a normal progression for Hotel California, and then just try soloing over it by yourself and not even thinking about any of the actual solos that you hum.
Yeah.
You won't even stumble upon any of those solos. It's like, it's so weird. It's an uncanny. I tried to do it the other day. I'm going like, I didn't even touch any of the main solos. It sounds totally different.
Right.
Because everyone has a different approach, and it's just
yeah.
an interesting thing.
That's cool.
As I was just going over some of your stuff, I realized how long you guys have been together. It's incredible. Like I said, you guys were babies when you started out, and here you are, and now you're like veterans. What's the key to your longevity?
I don't know. We became a guitar tag team at 16 years old, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know, I just turned 40, Ben's pushing it. And for the last 24 years, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like at sound check, we'll just play harmony notes to each other doing random stuff. And it just,
We just grew up learning and messing up and playing together, like with drop tunings and figuring out placement, and like we talk guitar language probably like nobody else does. Like if we're in a drop tuning, I'm like, okay, it's hit a, go to a G. Well, it's really not a G, you know what I mean? It's just maybe G position, but it's probably an F or something. That's how we talk. So when other guys are jamming too, sometimes we'll say that and they're like, a G? And I'm like, sorry. Then we'll have to just go to the 3rd fret.
Yeah.
Go to the 2nd fret.
When all else fails, use the numbers.
Yeah.
Fret numbers.
That's what we did. Neither him or I know, we can't read sheet music. No. You know what I mean? We didn't grow up with that kind of thing. It was all about listening to the CD or the radio and
using your ears
and figuring it out. And I really hope that I wish I could read some sheet music, because there's such an art behind that.
I wish I understood any music theory.
Yeah.
Like, neither one of us could play you an E major scale if you asked us.
Our
to.
bass player Steve knows music theory.
Yeah.
He'll sometimes go, that chord works with that chord because, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I don't know. I we just figured.
I heard
it
it in a Beatles song one time. I thought it was
Yeah.
cool. We grew up as guitar players, like it was before the YouTube generation, and it was like our way of learning was copying licks from dudes that we thought were really cool.
Yeah.
You caught this lick from this guy, or this guy played his riff, so you learn the riff how he played it, and you figure out what little things in there make that riff what it is. But it's weird. We're very much self-taught, but I think you nailed it, man. We grew up learning to play guitar together, and we grew up learning how to play guitar together. Like, we didn't learn how to play guitar with another guitar player with, Ben learned how to play with another guy, and I learned, playing with somebody else. No, we learned how to play with another guitar player with each other. So it's, it's kind of like we just, I don't know, we know when each other has the better feel for the part, or
it's just basically bouncing off each other. And then I think also if someone got to a certain point, you go like, oh, I got to work on that. Is that kind of the same idea?
Yeah. I think it's over the years, we just kind of figured out what, like, there are certain parts in songs we go, oh, that's a Chris part, or that maybe that's a my part, or this is that, and you just kind of figure it out, because there's no egos. It's not like it's not like, hey, I didn't get any solos. Who cares?
We're all on the same team.
Yeah, we all wear the same jersey. You know what I mean? And we all have the same end goal. And that, to the point about the longevity of the band, I think that is the main thing too. Is that everybody out here is on the same team. From the band to the crew members, and we all want the best. So there's no egos, and we are friends first. That's the core of what we are. It's a family, and then our band, we've been blessed to have a band through that friendship.
It's amazing.
So as long as you keep that focus, and our drummer and I were watching a great interview last night with Red Clay Straits, a great band. Check them out. I mean, they're huge right now. They've just recently blown up. But he was on Joe Rogan.
Man, some guy's voice is unreal.
He was like, I don't understand my bands break up. And Joe Rogan was like, yeah, but you're grinding, you get out there, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but he was like, it reminded me so much of us. He was like, that was never been us. He said, our whole thing was like, we all are blessed to do this. It's a gift, and we're going to treat it as that and as an opportunity. And he said, if we're sleeping in a hotel room, we're all arguing over who gets the bed, because nobody wants to be the one to say, I'll take the bed. It's like, no, man, you take the bed tonight. He said that mentality.
Everybody's arguing over who's sleeping in the floor.
Yeah, who's sleeping in the floor, of caring for one another. That, and I'm like, man, heck yes. I love seeing other bands talk about that versus going, hate these guys. It's a drag. I'm like, you're uninspiring a lot of generations by saying that, So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
But some of my most memorable times of us were when we were kids, loading up in a 15-passenger van or two vehicles and riding down the interstate, waving at each other on the way to Huntington, West Virginia, to go play, a bar for 100 people, if that many showed up. But it was getting out there and taking your music and trying to do something with it. I love that, and I wish there was more of that and less like TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. No, I think what you guys have landed on is like you realize the privilege of what you do, but it's also an incredible amount of gratitude that you're still able to do this stuff and
Absolutely
love what you do.
Thank you, sir.
It's the I get to mentality versus the I have to, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, we put our first record out in 06. That's 20 years next year. There have been so many great bands, great musicians, great songwriters that have come and gone in the last 20 years. And somehow, like a bunch of cockroaches, we're still hanging around 20 years later, you know, able to put out music, still put out new songs, and people still show up to see us play. So it's, you know, we're very thankful for that and know that it could have gone any other way at any point in time. And
the inspiring thing is like somebody messaged us on Instagram the other day and was like, hey, I saw you a couple nights ago. First, my friend took me to your show. First time I ever saw you live. Never seen you, never heard of you. They're like, I saw you live. I've downloaded everything, every piece of music you have. I'm on a Blackstone Cherry deep dive. She's like, I bought all your merch. And I'm like, that's somebody at this point in our career, 20 some odd years in, had never seen us, never heard of us, came to the show, and now you've got a lifelong fan. I'm like, there's still so many stones to be unturned and heads to turn. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. I love that. Some people would get upset and go, I can't believe they haven't heard of us. But the fact that they are catching on even now. I
think a lot of bands end up giving up too, or artists end up sadly giving up because they don't ever see that side of it, you know? And look, that's not going to be an every single night thing, but it's like when those things come along, that's that shot in the arm and that kick in the ass that go, look, hell yeah, that's why you're still doing it, because you converted someone who had never known you exist into someone that has to know everything about your band now. Yeah. And that's, you know, man, music is one of the most powerful things on the planet. And it's one of the few things that's ever brought me to tears, you know, without me ever having a connection with it prior to the first hearing or the first encounter with it, you know. And I think that's pretty powerful, you know. Anything else, you know, you meet it, you get to know it, and something will bring the tears on, whether it's happy or sad or whatever. But music's the only thing I've ever experienced in life that sometimes the first time it hits you, it's every emotion in the book. Sure. You know, it's special.
And you get so connected to it, so drawn, and you're so inspired and influenced by it. Like, I remember, I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan too, okay? So I remember when Jimmy Buffett passed away, we were on tour, and I remember Chris came up like the day after, because I was kind of in a haze. I mean, I loved this guy. Yeah. He passed away, it was just caught me off guard. But anyway, and Chris like, you know, he's like, you all right? You seem kind of off. And I said, man, it's so weird that, you know, I'd seen Buffett live, never met him. I said, but how you feel something and such a connection to somebody who passed away through music that you've never shaken hands with, but you feel like that connection because of what they created. And then, you know, it's like, that's just a, you know, a testament to, like you were saying, the power of music and what it can do to people that you don't even know what it's doing. I love that.
These are guys that set you on a path that's really, it's like reading a great book that suddenly like made you think differently. Yeah. The whole idea.
100%.
Yeah. And then you get to meet some of those heroes. We've been fortunate enough to meet some of these guys. You mentioned Def Leppard earlier. We got to tour with them overseas, man. And then, like, you know, they are some of the coolest guys.
They were the absolute sweetest, took the utmost care of us. Dude, we were first of three. It was us, Whitesnake, Def Leppard. Epic tour lineup, especially with Coverdale retiring.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so thankful we got to do some shows with them. But we're first of three, and we kind of had like kind of shitty board out front for that tour.
Yeah.
And Rick Allen walked out because we were having sound check issues one day. And he was like, I was just wanting to see everything's good. And just so happened we started having issues with the board. And Rick had them hold doors until we got the issue resolved and then let us go on later. It was just...
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, they just...
So when you do meet the people that you have a connection with and they're not like that, you're like, yes, that's a home run, man. You know, you'll die for that band now because they were extra special to you and they treated you just like anybody should treat anybody, but, you know, they didn't have to.
Because it don't always happen.
They don't always happen that way. There are some out there and you're like, ooh.
I just want to drill down what you said just earlier before, Chris. about like the music that you guys do and all that stuff. But what would you say to people that when they listen to your stuff that they would say like, well, your music is kind of irrelevant now, like rock is dead. Like, what do you think about that?
I would say a song is only as dead as you let it be. To me, music doesn't matter the genre. I don't think there's a timestamp on any of it. I don't think there's a expiration date on good music. We play festivals and there's tens of thousands of people there that show up to see rock and roll. Yeah. Every country artist in Nashville has distorted guitars in their songs now. Hip hop has distorted guitars. Rock and roll is not dead. You're just not seeing it in the right places.
Yeah.
Rock and roll is as alive as it's ever been, in my opinion, because you've got so many artists. Like, look at Hardy. He's one of the biggest country artists going, and his record's half a metal record and half a country record.
Right.
So you've got this stuff. I mean, look, rock and roll may not be what it was in 89 through 95 on MTV blowing the world over, but I think that's just because you've had other styles put in the spotlight. I mean, since the late 90s, it's been pop, country, kind of dominated world, because I consider hip hop part of the pop world, R&B stuff, anything that's going to be on adult contemporary, that's the pop world to me, or those kind of stations. But I think rock and roll is healthy and alive. I just think that rock and roll could use a good, shot of exposure to some degree, like have a true rock and roll band play a halftime show or something. You know what I mean? Like, what was the last one we had? Tom Petty?
Yeah, we were talking about that some other day. I mean,
and Tom's more on the songwriter side of rock and roll.
But yeah, the rock and roll is dead argument. None of us have ever been on board with that. I think
I disagree with Gene Simmons from day one on that statement.
I think it's just something people want to say to get rises out of people. And it might be easier for somebody who has had a huge career to sit back and say, well, it's dead. It's not what it was in the 70s. Well, of course it's not. I mean, 20 years from now, we're going to say rock's not like it was in 2025. It's always going to change. Yep. But like you said, there are rock and roll festivals in America being announced every day, and they're adding days to these festivals now. That the Sonic Temple started out as a one-day festival in Columbus, Ohio, called Rock on the Range.
Was it 4 now?
Now it's turned into a 4-day rock festival, and they're bringing in, huge, incredibly large acts.
That's Columbus Crew Stadium. It's a 60,000 person soccer.
And that's
stadium.
just in Ohio. Then there's Welcome to Rockville in Florida. I mean, ask Danny Wimmer what he thinks about that. Okay, and our friends at like Octane. There's things that are still supporting, but yeah.
And obviously, you can tell we're very passionate about the music we play. I mean, it's. Dude,
everyone rolling by the kind of crowds that you guys are drawing, and everywhere you play, it seems that you guys just get more and more fans out of it.
We try our best, man. Look, it's a different world. In 1973, people couldn't pull out their phone or go get on their computer when they got home and deep dive on Led Zeppelin and figure out the magic and mystery behind them. The closest thing you had to like that kind of mystique going on in a long time, in my opinion, was Sleep Token. And we saw what the internet did to those guys. They couldn't handle the fact that they couldn't figure anything out about these dudes. And to me, like, that's part of the magic of bands like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and Rush and all these great hard rock bands throughout history is like there was a certain bit of mystique and mystery around them that you didn't know all the information that you wish you did.
Yeah.
Now everybody under the sun's got a Wikipedia page. And the last time they went to the doctor. So it's a different world. So with that, rock and roll is different than it used to be, but so is every other genre. Yeah. I think the genre that probably benefited the most from that whole scenario though is country music, because they love knowing everything about their people.
Yeah.
And it's a different thing, because I grew up loving country music, and I still do. But rock and roll at the forefront of always.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I always said that the less you knew about your band, the more of a mystery, the more you gravitated towards it. And I think a lot of bands could benefit from being more mysterious than being an open book at this point.
Man, I was, my musical childhood was pretty sheltered. It was classic rock and country music. And I discovered Nirvana on my own when I was 12 years old. So this would have been 1997. I had no idea Kurt Cobain had passed, no idea about anything. All I knew was I walked into the Walmart, and in the CD section, there was that Nevermind cover, and it was intriguing. It was like, this is odd. And those were the days where you could kind of like scan the CD and
put the headphones on.
put the headphones on and preview a couple tracks.
Old school.
And dude, I found that CD and it blew my mind. And I remember when I found out that I would never get to see that band, it broke my heart. Because I had no idea. I found it on my own at 12. You know?
Yeah.
3 years later.
Back then, you guys didn't have like you weren't listening to radio or MTV like that.
We didn't have, so I didn't have cable a lot growing up as a kid. And then the radio station at home, the only one that came in really good were country stations.
Yeah.
And then on Friday nights, they would play Southern rock, which was like Bob Seger, Skynyrd. The hardest edge they would get would be like a Blackfoot song or something, you know? So
Yeah.
It's a little train.
yeah, but that was as heavy as it would get.
Yeah, right.
You know, but
We watched Farm Club. I remember staying up late watching MTV's Farm Club.
Yeah.
Matt Pinfield. I remember seeing Nickelback on there for the first time. They played Leader of Men, and it was like
that was like 2000, 2001.
2001 or 2000 maybe. I don't know. So those shows like that I remember seeing, and I remember VH1 used to do the what's that?
Or something.
Yeah, and Insomnia or something, or just
with 20 minutes of
yeah.
things.
It was something that would come on late at night, and it was just called VH. And all it was just music videos that played all night long until the morning, and then the shows came on. I was like, man, so that was so awesome, you know, just to get to experience that part of life. And then TRL I think was really cool. And that was a little later, but
Yeah, what's
cool
we got?
because you might have Korn and Britney Spears
Yeah, the same one.
and Justin Timberlake all on the same day in the same studio, and we're talking about. I'm like, that is awesome. You know, I don't know, that magic is, as far as TV goes, you know, you don't see that as much anymore. But I'm glad that we were part of that childhood.
Quick shout out to Mark Tremonti for making kids want to rock on guitar again.
Yeah, we love Mark Tremonti.
And I was sitting here thinking, you were talking about TRL and all that stuff, and I was thinking about being in high school and Creed
Yeah,
coming out, and when that Human Clay CD came out, and dude, when What If drops in, if you didn't want to go grab your guitar and play that as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid when it came out, then just set your guitar aside.
Yeah.
Because
that bridge on Wood If, everybody had to
dude.
figure that out with the wall.
Dude, Mark, he
Parker
inspired
with Scream 3.
a generation, and like even our generation, man, you know, we were in high school really starting to write songs and stuff, you know, but that stuff, man, like it just made you want to go play and write something as cool as that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So shout out, Mark.
that's right.
Big love.
Great, fantastic. How tuned in are you to like new gear? Does new gear inspire you, or is it you pretty much what you have? Like, what are your guitars and amps that you've been using?
So I'm pretty simple. For the last several years, guitar wise, I've been playing Chapman and then Lucky Dog stuff. Lucky Dog's independent out of Tennessee.
Shout out.
On real Anthony Sims, the GOAT. But I absolutely love his stuff. And then I've actually recently in the last couple of years started working with Chapman, and we have a signature model that I've got 3 colors of.
That Telly with the headstock?
Yeah, it's the SAR 63. It's my dad's initials in his birth year. It's kind of a nod to him. But yeah, it's semi-hollow, dual humbuckers, coil tap, treble bleed, 25.5-inch scale.
Yeah.
I grew up playing a Telecaster. It was my first guitar. I had a Epiphone with a Batwing headstock, and just gravitated back to that first guitar feeling, man. You know, if something about a 25.5-inch scale is where I feel the most comfortable and the most at home. And then amp-wise, pretty much since 2017, man, I've been a Helix guy, you know, so I'm hopeful to check out one of the new stadiums when they're, you know, more readily available.
Wow.
But I've been using a Helix, man, for live and recorded works for the better part of the last 8 years. Live, Ben uses Helix. Actually, the newest EP that's coming out in March, all the guitars are Helix on it. We recorded it with the Helix. And then the bass is 50-50, a split with like an old vintage Ampeg 810
Wow.
SVT Classic and then Helix.
Yeah.
I know that ecosystem extremely well, and I can dial in whatever sound we want.
That's
you know,
amazing.
I was a believer of non-Helix for a long time, or any kind of digital thing. I was like, no, it has to be amps, you know.
took some sound check trickery to get it.
Yeah, so and I still do love a 5150. That amp, you know, that goes back to Eddie, right? And the 5150 amp, that's what I used, and that's essentially what the sound is in my Helix too.
For me, I would try presets on all the different units. Didn't matter if it was Kemper, Axe-Fx, Fractal. You know, Axe-Fx is Fractal. The neural stuff, any of it. It was just, I had to find the right ecosystem for me to be able to understand it. Because once I decided to run the Helix, like a full pedal board, how I would put them in order on the board, into a head that then feeds into reverb delay into a cabinet, like it's in the effects loop. Once I just made it a straight line like that, like a regular guitar chain would be, and stopped trying to studio, eyes it or whatever.
Finesse it.
Yeah, I just made a mono guitar rig like I would have if I had a half stack behind me. And it made the digital world so much easier. And the option paralysis kind of went away. I was like, no, just use what you would use. You don't, just because you have 56 different overdrives doesn't mean you need to test them all.
Right.
Use the one you like.
Yeah.
Right. Did you teach Ben how to get there, or did you find that on your own as well?
He helped. I can turn the Helix on.
Yeah.
That's where it sucks. No, Chris has taken and it's not that I don't. I need to actually understand more about it, but he has always enjoyed that side of getting inside of it and down it.
I get really nerdy with the Helix stuff.
I'm like, once it's set, tone is good, that'll be my tone forever. And I'm good with that because I'm happy with it. Because it can be easy to start going, you can change this and this and this, and then it updates to this, and you're like, then you get overwhelmed, and I get anxiety, and I'm like, I just want it to sound like it needs to sound.
Back to getting the Cryberry.
Yeah, I can't even plug the damn thing in right, and I'm like, okay, this is.
I tweak on my stuff all the time. Like I really don't mess with the amps or anything, but I like setting the expression pedal to be different stuff. Like when I click the toe in, it's the wah. It always is, always will be. But some nights I'll have it to where my expression pedal is like a volume pedal. So it's basically acting like my volume knob on my guitar. I set it logarithmic, and then I go back for my clean sound, roll it forward for my dirty. But more recently, and what I like it the best for is I like a little bit of spring reverb all the time. I don't know why. There's something in that sound that makes me think about Black Sabbath and like really early heavy metal music.
Sure.
With that little bit of a drip going on. And so I've got it set to where it's very, very subtle when the toe's all the way forward. But when I rock the toe back, it's more like a traditional spring reverb coming in, getting kind of really wet sounding. But you can do so much with those things, man, any of those units that it's, I'd be happy if they never made another Helix, if I'm honest. I just want to try the new toy out.
Sure.
Yeah, right, exactly. Did it take you a long time to kind of get it together, or was it rather quick for you to get your sounds together?
So I went and got a Helix at a Guitar Center. We were on tour. We had done some fly dates. I blew up 2 JCM 900s and another amp in 2 shows in South America. And that was what led me to try the digital stuff to begin with. I wanted some kind of consistency for fly dates. Sure. I was able to dial in a sound that I really liked. It was giving me more, a thing that I really enjoyed. So I tried it live and been there ever since. I mean, it was literally probably 3 or 4 days of messing with the Helix on the bus and a sound check until I got it dialed in to a sound that I really enjoyed.
Interesting. Did you have any little sort of, like a little trepidation about doing the same thing as Chris? Or were you like, well, if he's using it, I should learn how to do this? I
think once I was tricked but with non-bias,
right,
by going, okay, that really does sound good, and thinking it was something else, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at this. Then we got my unit and set it up, and then
the consistency.
I think just mentally being like, because a lot of it is probably in your own head going, well, it's not a real amp, but it's like once you kind of get that out of your head, right. I was like, this is fantastic. You know what I mean? And especially like you were saying with fly dates, we go to Europe a lot, and we have our own equipment over there too that we store. But so when we go there, thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. But we do fly days. We just pack them up, and it's the same sound, and you don't have to worry about, like you said, you might request on a backline sheet, I need a 5150, and you get there, and it's not that, or it's something different, and then you got to dial that in. And
or hadn't been tubed or biased in about 10 years.
Yeah, and then if that goes down, you've only got the one.
That's it.
And what are you going to do? So I think once I was on board with it, it's just like, this is a no-brainer.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is.
And you guys are in-ears as well, I'm assuming?
No, me and Ben are both on wedges.
So you're actually pumping the sounds through wedges?
We do that, and then
Through our cabs, too.
We've got Ben split to where his path and the helix splits out without a cabinet. It's everything minus the cabinet. Goes to a Duncan power stage, then to his TV cabs.
Yep.
And then mine, I don't have mine split because I go straight to front of house and the wedges with the XLR. And then the 1/4 inch, the fine folks at Line 6 were sweet enough to send me one of the new power cab CLs. And I got the 212 power cab up there. So I just run my helix sound straight into it on the flat setting. And it's really cool because it's got just a 3-band bass metal treble on the top of it. So if the room's a little brighter, if the room's a little, if I want a little more oomph, I can dial that in. It's basically like having the Duncan power stage built in a cab.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love the new power cab.
Some players who don't normally, you are so used to tube amps, it's like, it's that thing. It's like, well, it's not going to sound the same live, but now you're actually treating your digital rig a lot like a tube rig, where you actually, you adjust the highs and all the EQing.
Oh yeah,
depending on the venue, right? And it seems.
I mean, it's so I've got the dialed in setting is the exact same every night, and then just I EQ the cab for the room.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
you might just sell me on this.
Hey, you're welcome to go up and plug in and check it out.
That's fantastic. So, Ben, what are your guitars that you're bringing out on tour?
I've got Les Pauls out here, Lucky Dog Telecaster. I think that's all I got. I had a Nash Telly, but it's at home. Cause I love the Nash. That he built some amazing guitars too.
T63.
T63, and it's like a seafoam green kind of. It's just a beautiful guitar. But I'll alternate them out. But then that's what it is. It's always been, I love Gretsch guitars too.
Sure.
That goes back to loving the Brian Setzer. And I used to bring out overseas. I've got a really badass Gretsch Jet that actually I've got one here. I need to.
You got the brown one.
Yeah. It was a cool moment, actually. Gretsch, one of the reps at Gretsch reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to try this guitar. I'm sending you one and Brad Whitford from Aerosmith one. And I was like, I'm on the list. All right, man. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I'm going to bring that back out, actually. But anyway, that's what it is. I like the humbuckers, and the Telecaster, too. It's got, what are they, Audeza pickups?
Yeah, it's a guy named John Lawrence, I think is his name. They've got a company called Odeza Pickups, and Anthony at Lucky Dog uses his stuff quite a bit. He makes some great, just rocking ass pickups. He makes some great stuff that does great country cleans too, but we like those more blade style. I'm not sure if it's a blade or what he does.
It's pretty hot.
It's awesome.
It sounds like a Tele if you want it to, but you can definitely,
you can rip faces off with it as well.
Yeah.
Are you still using the Peacemakers?
Yes, sir. I've got the Peacemakers. Bare knuckle pickups. I've got signature Peacemaker humbuckers. I love those pickups.
I reviewed them. I thought they were great.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I love it because you can get it with a mandala or without it, but that mandala just looks so nice on there, man. I love it. I need to get another set for my black signature guitar. I need the etched ones for it. They just look cool.
What about you, Ben? You're going to get a signature set. Let's make this happen.
Let's do it.
Looking at you, bare knuckle.
Yeah,
you got this.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. That would be cool. What's funny is the pickups in my guitars, the Les Pauls. I love the Les Paul Classic, and they come with a 496 and a 500T, which is wound, I think, to about 12.5 maybe.
They're pretty hot.
It's a little hot.
Yeah.
Not as hot as some. Some of those, like the Dirty Fingers and stuff like that, can go to 14, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. That would, with my sound, that would be screaming.
You ought to look at some of these ceramic pickups they're doing now. That go 18, 20K or something.
That's wild.
I reviewed a Halcyon from the Mike Stringers, and his is almost 18K on the bridge. That room.
I would like to try
a basement, and it's just going to be like.
Yeah.
But it's actually, the pickup design nowadays is so good. They've got everything dialed in so that you're not getting much of that artifacts or mush or just, it's a lot of clarity.
I tell you, I had a guitar that had a set of the Fishman Fluence. And I think that the voicing on those was the vintage modern, maybe.
Yep.
They blew me away.
Yeah.
They were like just the clarity and the articulation. I just don't like batteries.
I'm with you on that.
I'm not a battery guy.
Yeah.
EMGs sound great. Not a battery guy.
Yeah, especially when you forget to change them and you're on stage. Whoops.
That's what you got text for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. Do you guys have room on stage to improvise, or are you pretty much sticking with, how you usually play your songs?
We've got a set list that we kind of stick to for the most part. But we, songs, we jam in and out of songs, and in the middle of songs, jam sections are a little bit different every night. Nothing is, put it this way, we don't go to a place and rehearse and do, pre-production for tours ever. We just, we show up first day, have tour, do a sound check.
It's the set list.
And we're like, which songs are we going to do tonight? It's very much old school in that regard. We're probably one of the few bands that doesn't do like rehearsals and pre-pro.
Yeah. We did do a tour several years ago where we would try to do a different set list every night. And that is fun and it's challenging and it's exciting. But there is something to be said about getting in somewhat of a regime.
Yeah.
And then you just, that way, that set for the people is tight. And you just know the cues and what's going. We don't play to a click or anything like that, but we still know what's happening, and then you can really hone that in and make that the best it can be. But we recently just added in, we're doing 2 new songs now, which is, fun. That
This is from the new Celebrate.
the new Celebrate EP coming out March 6th. So we're doing the first release that we put out to the world was called Neon Eyes. And that was just like the first single overseas and like the track that people could listen to. And just,
Hey, we got new music.
yeah. And then Celebrate was just released last week as the first official U.S. single. So people are loving it, and it's fun to play live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do this rapid fire. First thing comes to your head, or let's see what happens. First guitar.
Epiphone, Batwing, Telecaster, Crate GFX 30.
It was a Fender, PV Stratocaster, PV amp.
PV Stratocaster, PV amp.
Yep.
Which one?
It was my dad bought off a work friend, 'cause I remember it smelled like cigarette smoke, 'cause the guy smoked it. I remember that smell like it was yesterday. But it was a great smell. You turn the amp on, and I was, yes, cool. It was just a silver Strat, I don't remember the model, and a little bitty combo amp.
The 10, probably the
Yeah.
They're like the practice amp, like the.
It was a little practice amp.
hands
Had like
add
2 settings.
TV version.
Had a distortion. I always freak that in, turn all the knobs up, That was it.
All right. First song you played in your first band.
I guess technically the first band I was in, I played at a high school dance. I played at prom in my sophomore year. And the first song we played, was it Stroking by Clarence Carter?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Stroking.
Into the
Because they told me I wouldn't do the, ooh, shit, Clarence Carter. And I did it. But yeah, we played that first because they told me I wouldn't do that.
I think it was Bush Machine Head.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Tone, in your fingers or in your gear?
Both.
Both. I like that.
I think it's hands because I've seen too many dudes plug into a rig and it still sounds just like them. It might have echoes of that rig. It might be a little sizzlier or a little duller, but it still sounds like that guy.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's in the hands. I think it's the player.
All right. Greatest gear finds.
Helix.
Oh, probably as of recent. Yeah. The thing that's been the most dynamic in our band where everybody goes to it, even, our bass player, Steve.
Yeah.
So across the board,
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
All right. Worst on stage moment.
I wouldn't say, and I don't mean to be cheesy when I say this, there is no worst moment on that stage because I truly like to look at it. It is a gift and an opportunity. But we did go to South America last year. We were down a couple techs because for different reasons. And then we get there. So we're running on a skeleton crew, backline equipment, but we had our Helix. And
I was trying a different rig. So I had put a UA line in the effects loop of my Helix. And for some reason, the line did not work in South America when we got there.
yeah, anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So we go out there on stage, we try to kick into the first song. It turns into, I'm not kidding, it's on YouTube, about 3 minutes of just us hitting feedback because Steve's bass went down.
Lead licks.
And it was just like John Frey was hitting the cymbals, but then his cymbals were falling over and then his kick drum fell over. And it was like, I remember looking up going,
type shit.
what is this? Like, which did we piss off? That we have been cursed. Funny thing is, though, we finally got it put together, played a great show, and people were like, that was the best I've ever seen. I'm like, I really hope you get an opportunity to come see us again, because when we can do this without all this, you're really going to enjoy it. But I just remember looking up going, oh my goodness, this is the longest intro. And it was because everybody was having to fix things. It's on YouTube. Go check it out.
All right. Most underrated guitarist
Most underrated guitarist of all time or current?
of all time
Oh my goodness.
that you that, or you know,
Most underrated guitarist of all time.
growing up, all the guitar players you went through, you cataloged in all those intersections of your life, you ran into them, you're like, oh, this guy doesn't get nearly half the credit.
I'll say Brad Whitford from Aerosmith.
Excellent.
He is the, Joe Perry has the style. I love it. It's like Jimmy Page. It's sloppy-ish in a way, but you can't cop it. That's his own style.
It's this thing.
Whitford is the licks, and it is like, it's so good.
Yep.
So I would say him. I think he's the underdog in that band.
This one's tough because my mind immediately wants to go rock and roll, but I'm actually going to go with Jerry Reed.
Oh yeah, Jerry.
I think his guitar playing gets overshadowed by his acting some.
People don't even know that.
Yeah, people don't realize the guitar player Jerry Reed was, man. That guy.
Yep.
I mean,
Monster.
Danny Gatton, but if you know anything about a Telecaster, you know that Danny Gatton's the most feared man to ever play a Telecaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I can't say Danny, but I'm gonna go with Jerry Reed.
All right.
He's one of the most, in my opinion.
That's like Roy Clark in a way. People think of, they're like,
Just goofy.
you're goofy.
If you watch it,
You watch it, you're like,
it's like,
what are you
he's doing
doing?
30-second notes on flat wound strings
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
at 100.
there's probably a lot. We could go down that rabbit hole a long time, probably.
I love it.
And some of that shit Roy Clark played sounded like Django, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Like,
next level.
and he'd be laughing and singing Folsom Prison like a dumbass, like doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like doing a funny skit and playing stuff like Django Reinhardt while he's doing it. I mean,
Yeah. It's next level.
And people just look back and go, oh yeah, hee-haw.
Hee-haw, yeah.
I watched the old kid, but then just I think he was on one show. He was playing Malagueño, and it was just it's unbelievable.
Dude, it's like I never got into like all the Larry Carlton stuff like that. Admittedly, I should. As much as I love Chris Buck and all those guys that play so beautiful and melodic, I know Larry Carlton would be right up my alley, but I just never got into that stuff, man. It's like I always wanted those guitar solos to be inside of a song and not just like a 5-minute long guitar jam.
Sure.
Yeah.
Best piece of guitar advice you've ever received?
Probably know what notes not to play. You don't have to play all of them. You know what I mean? I think there's a time and place for that. And I think if you're going to play in a band with somebody, is you have like I said, don't step on feet. Like know what you do and do that. And then if you're going to play with the other guy, respect that. And you have to read the room guitar wisely and just kind of go, okay, I'm not going to, this guy's getting ready to go. I'm going to lay back on this. And then, then that chemistry just kind of knows. Now it's my turn to step up and do this. So otherwise you just got two chickens that are butting heads up there the whole time.
Be aware of space.
Yeah, space is that's the best note in music, right? Isn't that what the Stones said? Mm-hmm. Space.
That's it.
I would say probably the best advice I ever got was 2 things. Number 1, if you can't sing it, don't play it. Mm-hmm. And number 2 was your picking hand is equally or more important than your fretting hand.
Without a doubt.
Those were the 2 biggest things for me. Because I was like, well, I can make my fingers do this and it still sounds like shit. Because you're not controlling your right hand as a right-handed guitar player, So those 2 things for me. And Greg was the one that told me if you can't sing it, don't play it.
Sage advice right there.
Yeah.
There it is.
Best riff of all time. Sorry.
I would have...
Quick on the spot.
I've got 3 that I just know that as a kid stood out to me. Like those are like colossal. You'll never ever top this. And that would be Black Dog, Foxy Lady.
Yep.
And as simple as that is, it's just the way it sounded,
Of course.
And then Cashmere.
Cashmere.
And as simple as that is, but as a kid, you're like, how do you play that? How's it doing that?
So
it was intimidating to me when I heard those, and I was like, you'll never top those guitar riffs ever. And as you get older and learn how to play them, maybe you're like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But still, like, I always go back to the drawing board and think those riffs are always in my mind because for different reasons. Black Dog for its complex versus Foxy Lady, which is not, but both of them to me were so intimidating.
Yeah.
I got 2 and an honorable mention.
All right.
So both of them come from the same band. We're going to go with Paranoid and Iron Man. I mean, they're just 2 of the greatest riffs of all time.
Yeah.
And then the honorable mention is Cowboys from Hell, because the first time I heard that, I thought the world changed forever, and it did. Seriously, for me, man, the first time I heard Cowboys from Hell come in, my world changed forever. Like And I got to throw an honorable mention. Fuck.
I know it's a lot.
Mississippi Queen.
Mississippi Queen.
Oh, all right.
What are we doing?
Leslie West.
Listen, you're doing it right. I think it's good.
Yeah.
We trying. We like the good stuff. If we could just play the good stuff now.
All right. So this is your chance to give a shout out. Any artists or guitarists that you guys have been really digging or that inspire you lately out there?
Guitarists that inspire me.
Or bands and it doesn't, what
I mean,
listen to.
Several years ago now, I went and saw Gary Clark Jr. live, and it was like an experience. Is the only way I know how to describe it. I saw him at the Brooklyn Bowl in Vegas, and I was maybe 30 feet from where, from the front of the stage, and I was right there in front of his amp, and it was an experience, man. Like, that guy, he's one of those dudes that, like, he doesn't play his guitar, it becomes a part of him,
That's great to see.
And the dude, I got to give a shout out to our buddy Jerry James Nichols. That guy,
He's great.
he's just a monster of a guitar player.
Tyler, Brian, in that world of like, guitarists know
Yep,
these people, that kind of thing. But yeah, Jared, great.
Jared can
Tyler's
do
great.
pick squeals with his thumb.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's got gigantic arms.
Yeah.
And it's just like, when he put it on the guitar, it's like, man, that looks so tiny on him. We brought him out.
Are you going to say it to his face?
No, I want to say it to his face. I want to say it to his face.
We love you. But no, Jared's amazing. I mean, there's...
Breeze guitar, which is really nice
it's-
to say,
It's God, he set the world on fire talking about delay pedals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're use what you want. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But no, guitar players.
I mean, that's fine to me.
No. Marcus King is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Marcus is like, he might as well be an alien at this point. The stuff I've seen him play, and then he opens his mouth and out sings everybody in the room.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw an old school one in there, just because every time we do a show with him, I'm reminded of just how good he is. Is Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's John Fred's dad, is Richard from the Headhunters, his uncle's Fred. And we've been around them, been very fortunate to grow up around that group of musicians our whole lives. But there's something about Greg Martin's guitar playing that
It's timeless in its own way.
he just doesn't miss. Like, you go see the Headhunters live, and Greg doesn't miss. And half the time he takes Hank with him. It's a 58 Les Paul called Hank the Plank. And dude, the last show we saw him, he didn't have Hank out. He had one of the CCs with him. And he was playing it through, I don't know if it was a Germino or a Marshall or a Magnetone. He had all three up there.
Yeah.
But it was just every note he played. No pedals, no nothing. One guitar cable straight into the amp.
That's it.
Very much the Eddie Van Halen approach. And which is odd because it's Greg and Eddie.
I know.
You know what I mean? But it's like, Greg's just one of those dudes that, like, I don't mention him enough when I talk about my influences because he's one of the biggest influences on me. But
I think it's just because
he's like Uncle Greg.
It's like Uncle Greg.
You know what I mean? So it's like you don't think about it, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Greg Martin anytime I've seen him put on a guitar, it's been inspiring to me as a player.
All right. How about you, Ben? Anyone?
Those guitar players I wholeheartedly agree with. I know Steve, our bass player, loves Billy Strings, and I know I've been watching some of his stuff, what he's doing with this weird cosmic bluegrass, but like infusions of different stuff.
It's a new genre.
It's unbelievable.
Did you see him working out that Casio guitar?
Yeah, it's really wild to see, and it's inspiring. And then I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna give a shout out to Aaron Jones and them Dirty Roses, our tour mates. Those guys are out here hustling.
Great players.
Great players. And I just told Aaron this the other night. They're traveling.
He's all Helix too.
Yeah. They're traveling in a van, the three of them. And I said, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, I commend you so much for getting out here and doing it. They don't have any text. They're just doing it because they want to do it and they love playing music. And I was like, you don't see a lot of that anymore. So I gotta respect that. And same thing with Dirty Roses. They're not used to the rock and roll tour. This is their first big one, like for, but they're loving it. They're like getting off the bus it's really cool. And then one of my favorite bands that I've been listening to for, as of recent years, Dirty Heads, which is a reggae rock hip hop group. Then we put them on. We used to use them for our after show music too. So I always give them a shout out in the rock world because I just need more people to listen to them.
One more guitar player. I got to mention him though, and He's becoming more and more known too. Ian Thornley, for one, is unreal.
Yeah.
And I've always been a massive fan. But the guy I really, really want to mention is Chris Buck. He's a friend of mine from the UK. He got a band called Cardinal Black. His guitar playing is so soulful and vocal. Like he just go check him out anywhere.
Sammy
you can.
Bowler from he's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Sammy's Zero, but yeah, there's a lot of guitar players out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, but
You look at it and you're like,
I had to mention
Chris Buck
Chris,
is
man.
amazing. His videos are like, they'll make you just want to fill your phone.
And then the Cardinal Black's records are just great.
I'm so glad you guys are so tuned into that. That's fantastic. Amazing. So finally, before I let you go, any inspiring advice you want to give to end those, your fellow musicians out there who want to do what you do, make a career out of it?
Every time you want to stop playing because you're frustrated or aggravated at yourself, don't. And if you do, take a 5-minute break and go right back to it. Don't ever give up on something that you truly wholeheartedly believe in. And just keep playing. It's one of my favorite clips of Eddie Van Halen of all time is somebody asked him advice. It's just play guitar, man. Just keep playing guitar.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that a guitar and that connection of being able to sit down, hit an A chord, and it make that beautiful chord has pulled me out of dark places just knowing that I have the ability to make that one chord. So get into a guitar, get into a bass, whatever you want to play, just play guitar.
Yeah. I would say, I would echo that and say you can't, well, I'll tell us to any band that comes up and like, whoa, what is some advice? I'm like, for whatever my advice is worth, this cannot be treated as a hobby or a pastime.
It's life.
You have to dedicate yourself to it. That's what we did. And the minute you put the instrument in the case under the bed, and you have to keep it in your room, keep it out. And because if you case it up, I don't want to get the case out. It becomes one lazy excuse versus just grabbing it. And then if you want to be in a band, like I said, the minute you treat it as just something you're going to do on the weekend, that's all it's going to be. And so you got to get in there.
I love you said don't put it in a case.
Yeah.
At the house, you walk in the garage, there's guitar stands with guitars on them. You walk into the living room, there's guitar stand with a guitar on it. Everywhere in the house, there's a guitar with a guitar stand. I know your house is the same way. It's just.
That sounds great. When am I coming over?
Anytime, whenever, everybody. Anytime you're in Kentucky, you holler at us.
I've seen enough of your videos, and I probably owe you a couple.
Oh, I'm flattered. Well, there you have it. Blackstone Cherry, Ben Wells, Chris Robertson, living the dream and actually living and breathing what they do, as you just heard. Check them out on tour. Their new EP, March 6th, Celebrate, comes out next year.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing it, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you.